Good morning.
Kevin, if you're good, you've got 45 minutes. If not, you got 5.
We'll go with the 5. Anyway, good morning. Thanks for having me. As Jim mentioned, he was talking to Robin, who is a partner of mine at Recovery Road, which is a nonprofit that we started this year. And we help a lot of people. Robin is my partner. She's definitely not one to get up and talk in front of people. What I do? Oh, perfect. She's not one to get up and talk in front of people. So she was like, you should go over here and talk to this group of men. So again, good morning. One of the first things that Jim said to me is, why should we get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to hear you talk? And I thought, we're all in trouble. I thought, wow, I couldn't come up with a good idea. I couldn't come up with a good reason why you should get out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning and come listen to me talk. But then I thought, pretty much, when's the last time any of us has slept past 5 o'clock? So you're going to be up anyway. So you might as well come have breakfast and at least hear me kill at least a half hour. I guess 5 minutes now. But I think it's important that I share my story briefly. When I was in school, probably about 8 years old, I was in 2nd grade, and one of the things that they do in 2nd grade, I don't know if they still do it, because that was quite a while ago, is, it's the class project for the day was, what does everybody want to be when they grow up, I remember that the things that came to mind to me that day was not to be a junkie, was not to be a convict, was not to be, was not to be any of those things, right? Like I wanted to be a baseball player, right? I wanted to be a police officer, right? I wanted to be a fireman, those were all things that to me, were respected. And those are things that all little kids want to be, I can tell you that my parents' hope for me was not that I would become a junkie, it's not that I would become a convict, right? And, I'm here to tell you that that 8-year-old kid would not have been proud of the man that I've become, right? And that's just my truth. And, I can tell you that, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on my story. I can tell you that I was saved in 1996. It was amazing. I was in prison for the 5th time. You would think, so I'm not real smart, right? You would think by the first or the second time that, I would have made some changes in my life, and I wanted to. I really did. I just didn't have, I don't know. I didn't know that I suffered from something which is more powerful than I am. And, so the 5th time in prison, and it's 1996, it's December the 6th of 1996. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was going to be getting out one more time, and I was going to be going back to this life that I have all the wrong friends. I hang out in all the wrong places. I do all the things that are wrong. I wasn't brought up that way. I knew right from wrong. My parents instilled values in me and morals, and I just was not the man that I was supposed to be, and I knew it. And I could no longer look in the mirror, and stand what was looking back at me. I just couldn't, I could no longer handle, the way my mom looked at me, my mother. I love my mother. She's about that big, and when she looked at me, I saw the disappointment in her eyes, I really did. And, my kids, I had kids at the time. I still have those kids, by the way. I didn't get rid of them. But I had young kids at the time, and I could no longer stand the way they were looking at me, right? I thought about this years later. I used to think, man, I wonder if they were looking at me thinking, man, this is the deal I got. You're my dad. Like, wow. December the 6th, 1996, I dropped to my knees. I always had that fundamental belief in a God, right? And, but here was my relationship with God. Like, I'll pray as long as you don't see me praying, right? It's just how I imagine that, these people of faith, when I saw them pray and stuff, I identified it as a weakness, and what I found today is that it's actually a strength, right? And so December the 6th, 1996, I dropped to my knees and, and I asked God to come into my life, and I asked him to please help me. And, I got sober May the 20th of 1999. So between December the 6th, when I asked God to help me in 1999, I had some struggles. And my final struggle came on May the 19th of 1999. And once again, I had a gun in my mouth and it was loaded, right? And I was crying, and I just could no longer go on the way I was going on, right? I was going to blow my brains out, and turns out I don't have the gumption to do that, right? I don't want to die, but I don't want to live either, right? I'm at that point in my life, and I hit my knees one more time, and because when I asked him to help me before, he did, and I dropped to my knees one more time, and I said, God, please kill me or save me. And he absolutely did. And I've been sober ever since that day.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. I'm sober by grace. Grace is an undeserved favor. I know I don't deserve it, right? And what I do not want to do is disrespect that gift, right? So I'm an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm a Christian. I know that God's responsible for every positive thing in my life, and I can tell you that, I've been actively involved in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I don't know if anybody has any knowledge of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? It's one of those, they have meetings, they drink a lot of coffee, right? You guys do too. So there's a similarity, but, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, right, the primary purpose of the program is to put people in touch with the power greater than themselves. It's going to relieve them of the problem, right? It's a God thing. It really is, and, so for the past 23 years, I've made it my life's mission to help other men. And, I've had some success stories along the way, and I've had some failures, and they're really not my successes or failures. It's God's deal, and, my 5 minutes is up.
Keep going.
I don't know. That's a little bit about me and about my story, praise Jesus, without God in my life today, I would not be the man that I am today. I wouldn't certainly have the life that I have. It's beyond my wildest dreams. It really is. It's beyond anything that I could have imagined, because if you would have asked me the life that I wanted, there's a lot of big fancy stuff in it. And I don't necessarily have all the big fancy stuff today, but what I do have is some peace in my heart. And, I was able to take everything, that I had up in here, and I was able to bring it down to here. Right. And the relationship that I have with my children today is amazing. Right. Amazing. I have 10 grandkids. I probably got all you guys beat. I have 10 grandkids, and it's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, so like I said, I made it my life's mission to help other men. I felt like I was called to do that, right? And I got a little job back in 1996 for a technology company in the city of Anaheim, and God put it on my heart to serve my community, right? And I started serving my community in different areas. And I started volunteering my time at the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club. I got involved in those two organizations, and later joined their boards and been on their boards ever since, and got involved with Cops for Kids. And I remember I told Jim, I said, hey, this sounds a lot like a Rotary meeting. And it really is. I've been involved with Rotary for 15 years. I served as the president of Rotary twice in Anaheim, and it's a lot what we do. We sing, we pray. Flag salute. There's no flag in here, but the flag salute, and we have speakers, and it's a lot like a Rotary meeting. Sorry, but nothing wrong with Rotary. I love Rotary. Rotary is near and dear to my heart. But I got really active in my community in the city of Anaheim. I've had that same job since 1996. For the last 15 years, I've been the general manager of the company. And it hasn't closed down because I mismanaged it, which is good. So.
Have another cup of coffee there, brother.
Yeah. So I guess bringing up all that was to really kind of highlight, that I came from a prison cell, and in the year 2012, I was honored as the Anaheim Chamber of Commerce's Man of the Year, and not through anything that I did, right? But I believe that I was called to serve, right? And through that service, and when they gave me the award, some Senator Lou Correa gave me an award. Yeah, you're a special guy, and I couldn't help but thinking, you know what, you're honoring God right now. That's what you're doing, So amen. And after that, again, I have this need, I guess we'll call it a calling, right, to help other men who were where I was, just as hopeless. And fast forward, we get to probably about 2016, 2017, and we experience this opioid epidemic in America. It's a real thing. There's 20 times the amount of people during COVID died from opioid epidemic, right, than COVID. It's 20 times more people than COVID, but nobody was talking about that. Trump recognized it immediately and declared a state of emergency, and thank God for that. But what that did is it caused a bunch of people to go open these treatment centers and make a bunch of money off of it, which I personally despise. I always thought that, there should be an avenue for people to recreate their lives, and it shouldn't cost them anything, fast forward to 2020, March the 12th of 2020, you guys were all watching TV. You remember what happened on March the 12th? They shut down the world. They shut down the world because of COVID. Yeah. I don't know if it was right, wrong, or indifferent at the time, but it is what it is, and it shut down every avenue that everybody had to seek recovery. Everything shut down. So Robin and I, and Jim knows Robin. Robin's great. She's way more energy than I have. I'll tell you that. We got together and we prayed, and we saw a need in the community, right? We saw a need. You see a homeless guy on the street, right? And he's maybe on drugs, maybe some of them we can't help, right? There's a lot of mental illness, and we're not equipped to deal with that, right? We'll try. We'll give it the old college try, but we're not really equipped. We have resources, and we can, kind of point them in the right direction. But you see the homeless guy on the street, and they're on drugs, and there's places like detoxes that exist, and there's places that, there's a lot of resources for these folks, right? But none of them are connected. And what we wanted to do is create something that connects them all, right? So we could take that person from the streets, bring them over to detox, get them detox, pick them up from detox, bring them from there to a sober living, right? Once they're, in a safe, sober environment, right, we're going to bring them food. We have a food bank, we have a fully operational food bank. I have some literature that I brought with you today. It's pretty amazing what we've been able to do. But and after that, we have a job placement program. We have an education center at Recovery Road. We have a lot. I don't know if you've been over there, Jim, to look at it. It's amazing. And so we opened on Cinco de Mayo, 2020, right? March 12th, the world shut down. We got together and we thought, all right, let's put we got a little bit of money, but not much money. And I'll let you know that we started this with a really, really bad business plan. So if there's any business people in the room, which I'm sure there is, you might want to think twice about doing this, right? So you get all your money, you put it in one place, right? And then you pour it into this thing, and you hope that you see some results and you get some people on board to help you before you go broke. That was our plan. But we knew that if God was in the middle of it, it was going to be successful, right? If our motives were true, it would be successful. And that's exactly what we did. So on Cinco de Mayo 2020, we opened Recovery Road, right? And we had a little location on Euclid in Anaheim, little 700 South Euclid, tiny place, That's all we could afford, and we opened it up. We had a little food pantry, and we had place for 12-step meetings, and we had Bible studies, and we had a lot of stuff going on, and it was pretty successful. But what we noticed 3 days after we started it was that we had already outgrown it. And problem was we signed a year lease, and we didn't have the money to move anyway. So we made the best of it for what we could. We helped a lot of people in that first year. And then September the 1st of 2021, we moved to our new location, which is a 5,000 square foot warehouse office type environment. And we were able to take our little food pantry that we had. It was literally a closet that we would disperse food to people that needed it. We now have I guess it's a double wide warehouse type thing. Jim, you've seen it. And we have a fully functioning food bank. Last month, we fed 1,300 families. It was crazy. The first month we opened up 792 families. So we started September the 1st, 2021. All right, I said, all right, I hope this works. I just signed a 3-year lease at $5,000 a month. I hope this works because I'm going to be broke, and we had some amazing people get involved and get behind us and start helping us out financially. We don't make a lot of money by any stretch, but we do meet our operating goals every month, and we're able to help people. But our first month, we fed 792 families, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. And then the second month, it jumped up to about 950 families. I'm thinking, wow. And then the third month was 1,300. And it's been steady at 1,300 or 1,400. It jumps up and down. We save all that data because I think it's important to tell our story about the impact that we have in the community. We're also able to open up an education center, right, which is a computer room with 5 computers in it. And we were lucky enough to have a sponsor donate those computers. And this is where folks can come in and they can work on their resume. They can look for a job. They can do anything that they need to do, right? Within our guidelines, they can use our computers, right? But it has to be educational, for educational purposes. We partner with Rancho San Diego College, so they can actually take college courses at Recovery Road that are allotted time slots that we have. We partner with another group, TPOR, it's the Purpose of Recovery, right? And they provide peer-to-peer mentoring, which is a one-on-one 18-month, you get a life coach buddy that kind of, helps you manage your life for 18 months free of charge. And it's important to probably point out that we are a nonprofit, right? Which means that every bit of money that we bring in goes straight back out. Nobody gets paid. I have a job, and my job pays me well. I don't get paid from Recovery Road. In fact, we're 100% volunteer. The only one person that gets paid at Recovery Road is Robin. We give her $500 a week, and that doesn't even pay for her gas. A woman works 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's our only employee expense. We don't charge for anything that we provide, nothing. And we have 12-step meetings, we have Bible studies, we have group grief therapy, we have, again, you'd have to go out and look at our website, we have exercise classes. It's funny to see a bunch of people that are new in recovery, going to the Bible study, and then after Bible study, they're doing this yoga. It's kind of funny to watch for me. I don't do yoga. It's just a funny thing to watch, but anyway, so when they asked me to speak here, it was like, what am I going to talk about? And Jim said, what are you going to talk about? I said, I'm going to talk about the power of Jesus Christ. I'm going to talk about, the absolute power that God has had in my life, and the absolute power that I see working in other people's life today. It's crazy. If I had to put a number on it, about the amount of people or the impact that we've had in our community since we opened our doors, coming up on 2 years ago, I would have to put the number at about 40,000 people that we've been able to impact in a positive way. And nobody had to pay anything, right? And that was our mission from the get-go, was, look, this it shouldn't cost money, you know. There's people out there getting rich on the backs of our brothers and sisters that are dying from this, you know, opioid epidemic, you know, and it makes me mad. It does, to see that. And so what we want to do is create a place where people can come, where they can feel welcome, and we can put them in touch with resources, right? And we can walk them through the path of recreating their lives, right? Because there's a ripple effect there. You know, when you help somebody's son, you're not just helping their son, you're helping their family, right? You know, I've been able to witness some families reunited, and that's important to me. It holds a special place in my heart when I watch a man come in completely broken, right? He's got a wife and kids, and they need him, you know. And we've been able to walk him through the process of recreating his life, and he is now a productive member of society. He's a father, he's a husband. Right. And then they come to our gatherings that we have, and the kids, I watch them interact with the kids, and I watch the wife come up to me crying, saying, thank you for everything that you did. And I got to tell her, look, I didn't do anything, right? I was called to serve. He does it. It's him, right? And she's like, whatever, thank you. I'm like, that's fine. You know, I don't take any credit for it. I can't, you know, I can't even take credit for managing my own life. Without God in my life, you know, I know what happens. I end up in terrible places that I'd never imagined I would end up, you know. And you know, because of God, my mom passed away New Year's Day, 2005, you know, and I remember, you know, all the heartache and all the pain it caused her, you know, for a long time. And New Year's Day 2005, I was sober about 6 years, and she got diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. There was nothing they could do for her, you know. And she lived in Phoenix, and you know, we got hospice involved and everything. And I left my job, and I went to spend her final days with her, right? Because that's the kind of son I am today, you know. And I remember we were sitting there one morning, and I was probably changing her diaper, you know, and just heartbreaking stuff, you know. And I remember she told me, she said, you know what, I'm glad I lived long enough to watch you become the man I always knew you could be. And that floored me, you know what I mean? That, you know, still to this day, man, that statement from her is so impactful, you know. And again, you know, I have the life I have today by grace, and I never want to forget that, right? And so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I invite any of you guys in this room that want to assist us. You're more than welcome to. But whether you do or you don't, we're still going to be doing what we're doing. You know, we partner with Cross Point Church here in Anaheim. Pastor Brian, great guy, good friend of mine. You know, he had heard about us. What are you doing over there, Kevin? I hear about all this stuff, and I know all the stuff that you do. What are you doing? Can I come look? You know, and we invited him over, and he was kind of blown away. Like, you do all this? You know, yeah, we do. Why? That was the question. Why do we do what we do? Right? And the only thing I can come up with is we do the next right thing for the next right reason. That's it. And we're honoring God in the work that we do. That's it. Other than that, you know, we're not doing it for any kind of end result, although we would like to impact our community in a positive way. I'd like to leave this world a little better than I found it, you know. I don't know. So we've been able to partner with Cross Point Church, and it's exciting what God's gonna do in the next steps of Recovery Road. You know, my idea is that at some point we would have multiple locations. Operationally and financially, that's a challenge. It's a big challenge. You know, but you know, we start out with faith, we end with faith. You know, we do a lot of prayer, and we keep our feet moving. I want to thank you guys. I'm going to end early. In case you guys have any questions you want to ask me. Anybody have any questions? I'm usually taller. Sorry about that.
Did your mom come to faith?
Pardon me?
Did your mother come to faith?
So the question is did my mother come to faith? My mom was a tough nut to crack, right? Mom was, yes, okay, yes, but a lot of coaxing and a lot of, talking to her every day. I said, because I had just been baptized in 2002. I was saved and baptized 2002 at Calvary La Habra, and Pastor Lance Cook, great guy. So, I was a new follower, right? And I knew that she was going to pass, and she knew that she was going to pass, and she was okay with it and everything. And, and I started to minister to her a little bit every day. We were together for about 4.5 weeks, right? Until she passed. And 2 days before she passed, she accepted Jesus Christ. She was saved. So I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that she's looking down right now. She's proud, and that just, yes, she did. I'm working on my dad now. I'm working on my dad for 30 years now. Anyway, he's a tough nut, but yes, she did. Yes, sir.
Do you provide food every day, or how do you provide food for the homeless or whoever else you're serving?
So, what do you mean how?
Well, I mean, do you have a facility where you cook and everything right there?
We don't cook. So we have prepared
Just
food that they could cook. We have a full warehouse of perishables. We have freezers and refrigerators, and they're all full. So folks call us. They call us, or we hear through the grapevine that somebody needs help, and we have a delivery service. So we'll go out. We'll go to you, or you can come in. Either way, and we'll provide a week's worth of food to everybody that calls us. 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
But do you focus on the homeless? Do you just focus on anybody who has needs? Is that what you do?
Well, we don't have a questionnaire when you call us. If you're hungry, we're going to feed you, right? So obviously homeless people and veterans kind of go right to the top of our list.
Do they just walk in, or do they have to call? Or?
They can walk in. They can call our phone number. There's many ways. It's normally this network of people that we have. As you help people, the word gets out, and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. It's growing. It's kind of like the church. It's the idea is growing. So there's multiple ways, and it's one of the interesting things that's come out of this is the amount of people that come back to volunteer. That's another aspect of this that I didn't realize was going to happen is that our volunteer base has grown, and to watch these people who were completely helpless and hopeless, right now they're over here working for free, and they're loving it, and they can't wait to pass it on to somebody else. So it's been really neat to watch.
It's like the gospel.
Exactly. Kind of funny how they parallel, huh? I know that. Yes.
So House Point is one. Have you had any other contact with other churches or any connections with like Be Well or?
Yeah. So Marcia over at Be Well. So I'm very connected in the recovery world, right? I'm the chief financial officer for the Rock Center Incorporated. I have been for 15 years. Marcia, who's the operations manager over at Be Well, very good friend of mine. I actually watched her get sober. So everybody that's in the recovery world, we're very connected to. So we send people to Be Well all the time. In fact, I just got a request to speak there on Saturday, but I can't make it. So, but yes, we're Grace Church, Grace Community Church in Buena Park. We've done things with, but as far as an actual true partnership, Cross Point's the only one. We're open.
Are you familiar with what's going on with Mary's Kitchen?
Mary's Kitchen?
Yeah. It's in Orange. On Strut. It's next to the police station.
I believe Robin is aware of Mary's Kitchen. Yes.
Well, the city's trying to kick them out. They have a stay on it at this point, legally wise, but with what you're doing and listening to reading this while you're talking, it may be a good synergy between the two of you in terms of what their focus is the daily with the homeless. And
right.
I get donations and that, and they're being pushed out. of their-
You know what, and now that you mention it, we've gotten people from there, so I do know what you're talking about. They've been sending people over to us.
Gloria would be a great connection.
Yeah, we're already talking to her, because she's very sad,
Right,
but they're sending people to us.
okay.
And, you know, I don't know their situation, although Robin does. Robin is very actively involved. I'm the president of Recovery Road, I guess the voice of reason, but she's actually the one that is there, you know, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. She's doing all the work. She's doing all the heavy lifting, right? Because I have a family and I have a job and I have, you know, all this other stuff going on. But yes, that does ring a bell.
Okay.
Sorry, the recovery for people,
Oh, sorry.
the recovery for people, what is the percentage of people who start in recovery and then don't succeed? Just recently, I was down in the parks and I tried to talk to homeless people as much as possible. But I talked to a young man there. And he said he had gone through. Okay, he'd gone through a recovery program 20 times, and each time he failed. And when I met him, he was in the park on drugs, taking drugs right in front of me, but still very sober to talk to me at the same time. But you can see his just eyes closing, but what he had to say was very real, and his hurt was very real, and his desire to be back with his family was very real. But the power of the drug that he was taking was just also very real, and he was unable to really deal with it. But 20 times he said he had tried.
Yeah, and you know, that's a great question. And the truth of the matter is the numbers aren't that great. You know, we set out to change the world, but we can't, you know, we don't have that power. So we change the world for one person at a time. Now, you know, to kind of expand on that a little bit, I mean, I was on my 5th time in prison, right? I was on my 5th time trying to get sober, right? So 5th or 6th or 7th or maybe 8th time trying to get sober. So, you know, what we do when we bring people in, and I'll answer your question. So when we bring people in, what we like to do is keep their feet moving, right? Because if we, you know, you can send somebody to rehab, you know, and when they're done with that rehab, they're going to open the door and they're going to let them out. And if you don't have any aftercare or follow-up, right, the numbers are staggering. They're 5% of people are getting sober. If you have aftercare and follow-up, you know, the numbers shoot up a little bit. It's in a 20%, you know. But we like to keep people actively involved, coming back, going to me. You know, we really want to keep people engaged. You know, you can't just send somebody to rehab for 90 days and when they get out, they go back to the streets. Yeah, and that's why we started Recovery Road. We want to build a sober community, right? And we're doing a pretty good job right now.
But to get them into homes, and really, if they go back in the streets, they're going to be the same people. They're going to be offered the same drugs.
Yeah, that's not really our focus, right? So our focus is, look, we pick you up in the park. Maybe you give me that guy's number, and I'll take a crack at him. So we would take him from the park, right? We say, if your desire is real right now, come on, let's go. And I'll take him over to my detox, and I'll put him in that detox for 7 days. When he gets out of that detox, we're going to pick him up. We're not going to put him on the bus. We're not going to put him back out on the streets anywhere. We're going to pick him up. We're going to take him over to sober living. We're going to pay 2 weeks rent for him. We're not going to give him money. We're going to pay his rent for 2 weeks. Then we're going to fill him up with food. So he has food. If he needs clothing, we also have a clothing outreach. We're going to make sure that he's clothed, right? And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get him a job, and we're going to put him in touch with 12-step meetings, right? So he's going to have a sponsor. He's going to have a safe, sober environment. He's going to have clothes. He's going to have food. He's going to have everything he needs to succeed, right? Unfortunately, the next part's up to him.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
But everything's been provided for him.
And people, you're over this side, but what about people over in Orange, where I would most likely meet people?
Yeah, send them to us.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
send them in the sense of, because they don't have cars, they don't have.
That's okay. We'll go to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I have cards and I brought some handouts. I wasn't sure how many to bring, but we'll go to them. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to take up all the time, but you said it there, it's like my own mother was an alcoholic, but she had to come to the point where she decided she wants to be sober.
Yeah.
a lot of these people have not come to that point. You can take them through a program till you're blue in the face, and unless they themselves have a desire to be clean, and then it's really in one sense a waste of time. So really that's where.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people out there that want to be sober, but they're just not willing to put in the work it takes to stay sober. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, for me, I know that the greater aspect of what ails me shows up after I get sober. So after I get sober and I start to feel a little better, that's when I'm in the most danger. And I never understood that. And as we try to educate people on the actual problem, the problem really isn't the drugs and alcohol. The drugs and alcohol become the solution to the problem. Yeah. And that's what they don't understand. And you know, we're trying a different approach.
Right.
Because the old one's not working.
It's a great work. Well done.
Could you rename you said you detox, you take them to sober living, you provide food and clothing. And what about counseling?
Counseling, we have peer-to-peer mentoring. We assign them an 18-month life coach. And then we have a job placement program. We've partnered with some really great people. We really have. We have a job placement program. We have 13 companies that are willing to give all these people a shot at work. So
in order to get an opportunity to get a job, do they have to go through any steps?
What do you mean steps?
Okay, any of these steps, do they have to go through detox? Do they have to go through sober living? Do they have to go through the
not necessarily. If you call us and you're just in need of a job, right?
Okay.
And we think, okay, you know, I mean, obviously if you're strung out in the park, we're not going to send you straight to a job. Okay?
Sure.
We're putting the cart before the horse. We're not dealing with
But if you're just homeless and are in a situation where you don't have a place to live, you can't get a job, you know.
Yeah, we can find you housing and we can get you a job immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run into people all the time.
Yeah, we're not governed by anybody, which is a good and a bad thing, right? It's nobody's telling us how to run our program, right? It's a group of people that have decided that they want to have a positive impact in their community, and we're going to do whatever it takes. And we don't have like rules and regulations and all this stuff, or the county telling us what we have to do or can't do, and the state telling us. We don't have any of that, right? So if we want to help somebody, we're going to help them. And our motto is right now, we're going to help anybody, regardless of the need, right? We're going to try to help them. I mean, there's a ton of programs that we provide. I don't even want to call them programs, you know, but somebody's call and say, hey, we just finally, you know, got our first apartment, you know, and we need furniture. Well, our network is so vast and so big that we'll put out feelers out there, and we've furnished apartments, you know, and that's not really something that we talk about, but we do things like that.
Do you have a place to store stuff if people want and just say, I got stuff, rather than give it to Salvation Army or somewhere else, and it's good stuff, decent stuff? Do you have a place to store it?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
In fact, I need a bigger place.
Okay.
Are you in contact with Habitat for Humanity? Habitat for Humanity?
So the question is, are we in contact with Habitat for Humanity? Yes. We've talked to Habitat for Humanity. Unfortunately, they're kind of in the same business we are. We can refer people to them and they'll deal with them directly. But as far as us collaborating with them on projects or anything, they didn't seem to be interested in doing that. They're pretty successful all by themselves. I think I was supposed to get the hook 5 minutes ago.
The question about recovery and relapse that they had. You know, when we look at the guys, we look at the 20 times that they recovered, not the 20 times that they relapsed. And we think it's a miracle that they actually continue to try to recover in that. So we don't get discouraged when they relapse with the guys that we work with.
Yeah, I know for me, it was absolutely God that got me sober, and I believe that it was time, you know, and then he decided it was time. And I don't know when God's time is for anybody, right? I just know that we just need to keep that avenue of opportunity open.
So
how does, I'm gonna like, but how does one help if someone wants to help with your
Program. If someone wants to help with your program, what do we do?
Well, we have a plethora of ways you can help. You know, again, when you have a company that provides, and I'll call it a company, it's really not a company, but we have an organization who provides services and we don't charge for anything, right? I mean, and I don't like saying this, but you know what? We need money, right? Money is a great way. And we've had a couple of people who have stepped up and give us a monthly contribution, and it helps dramatically. It keeps our doors open. But you know, there's different volunteer opportunities. There's a lot of ways that you can give back to Recovery Road, a lot of ways.
Okay. And how would they get information on that?
I brought some collateral, and we have a website, recoveryoc.org. And you can just call the number. You can talk to Robin, but you're going to be on the phone for a while. She's really passionate about what she does.
And what kind of training do the recovery peer-to-peer counselors, and what kind of model do they get trained by, or is it?
So the purpose of recovery is the entity who actually shares offices with us. We actually moved them in, so they're a separate nonprofit that works with us. All of their life coaches are trained and certified. I don't know the platform that they use to get trained and certified, but they're all trained and they're all certified life coaches.
What platform? What platform?
I don't know the platform. I can find that out. I know they're very good at what they do. And I know that it takes them about 6 months to get certified.
You have specialized counseling, like some people might have the drug problem needing counseling. Other people might have a mental problem and need to get assistance there. Do you deal with other life coaches or other counseling organizations other than just the one that is residents in your place?
So we have grief counselors that come in and counsel people with, you know, dealing with death and different grief, you know, domestic violence, things of that nature. When you get into the mental health side of it, I'm not a mental health professional, and nobody on our staff is a mental health professional. So we refer those people out,
Okay, that's
right, to the right people, right? We don't want to try to get in and try to solve something that we're not equipped to solve.
You heard of, oh God, I can't think of his name now. He's a Christian counselor. He's got a very good organization. He's just a wonderful guy. Christian organization, CIFT. Have you heard of them before?
No.
Okay.
CIFT, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys very much.
Talk to you forever.